You know, some of the most powerful lessons in history weren't shouted from a stage. They happened in quiet moments, kind of like this one we're about to dive into. It's a conversation between a father and his son. But this is no ordinary family chat. The father is the Buddha, and his son, Rāhula, is asking for one simple, powerful teaching that can set him free. So let's listen in. So get this, Rāhula comes to his dad and basically says, "Can you teach me the truth, the Dhamma, but give me the short version?" He's not after some grand, complicated philosophy. He wants a tool, something real and practical that he can take with him into solitude and really put to work. He's asking for the absolute core of it all. All right, so how does the Buddha answer? Does he give him a long lecture, a bunch of rules to follow? Nope. He gives him a method, a way to look at his own experience. And he does it with just 3 simple questions, starting with the most basic thing we have, our senses. He starts with something super simple, the eye. He just asks, "Rāhula, what do you think? This eye of yours, the ability to see, is it a permanent, unchanging thing? Or is it impermanent? Does it change?" It's a really fundamental question, isn't it? And Rahula's answer is immediate. "Impermanent, sir." Well, of course it is. Think about it. Our eyesight changes as we get older. Our eyes get tired. There is nothing static about them at all. They're constantly in flux. Just like, well, everything else. So the Buddha takes that and immediately builds on it with the next logical step. He asks, okay, so if something is impermanent, if it's unstable and always changing, can it ever be a source of real, lasting happiness? Or is it ultimately a source of stress? The Pali word for that stress is dukkha. And again, Rāhula's right there with him. Suffering, sir. Now that word, dukkha, is so key. We often translate it as suffering, but it's a bit more subtle. It's that low-grade hum of unsatisfactoriness that comes from relying on things that just can't hold up. You know, if you try to build your house on shifting sand, you're going to feel a little on edge, right? That feeling, that's dukkha. And this leads us to the final and really the most powerful question of the 3. This is the one that connects the facts of the world to our own sense of self. The Buddha asks, if something is changing, and because of that it's inherently stressful, does it make any sense to point to it and say, that's mine, that's who I am, that's myself? And Rāhula's answer is a firm, absolutely not, sir. And boom, there it is. In just 3 quick questions, the Buddha has given him this incredibly powerful way to dismantle attachment. It's a simple chain of logic. If it changes, it's not reliable. If it's not reliable, leaning on it for happiness will cause stress. Therefore, it makes no sense to identify with it as your true self. Okay, but this is where the teaching just explodes in scope. The Buddha then shows Rāhula that this little 3-question framework isn't just for thinking about your eyes. You can apply this tool to absolutely everything you experience. And I mean everything. He tells Rāhula to take this same logic and apply it across the board, to all the senses, hearing, smelling, tasting, to all the things we sense, sights, sounds, flavors. But then he goes deeper. Apply it to your inner world too. Every feeling, good, bad, or neutral, every thought, every perception, every urge or intention, even craving itself. Nothing gets a free pass. Nothing is exempt from this investigation. It's truly radical when you think about it. So what happens when you actually start looking at the world this way? What's the psychological payoff for applying this lens to your life? Well, the Buddha says it creates a natural, clear progression, a path to letting go. The very first result is a state called nibbindati. You could translate it as disenchantment or disillusionment. But hang on, this doesn't mean becoming negative or depressed. It's more of a wise disenchantment. It's like you finally see how the magic trick is done. Once you see things for what they are, just temporary, unreliable phenomena, you naturally lose that obsessive grip on them. The spell is broken. And this reveals this amazing cause and effect path to freedom. It all starts with just seeing clearly. From that clear seeing, this disenchantment we talked about just arises. And when you're not so enchanted anymore, dispassion follows. You're not jerked around by every little want and aversion. And from that dispassion, liberation, freedom. And notice, this isn't something you have to force. It's what happens naturally when you really see. But hold on, the story isn't over yet. We fast forward a few years. Rāhula is older, more experienced, and he comes back to his father with a follow-up question. And this time, he gets right to the heart of the matter, to the deep, sticky habits of the mind. He asks, how do I look at things so that the automatic habit of creating an I or a mine around my experiences just stops? This is the real-world question, isn't it? It's one thing to get this stuff on an intellectual level, but it's another thing entirely to stop that deep, unconscious habit in its tracks. And again, the Buddha's answer isn't a belief system. It's a direct instruction, a practice. He says you have to watch everything that makes up your reality, every physical sensation, every feeling, every perception, every thought, whether it's in the past, present, or future, whether it's inside you or outside, whether it's big and obvious or tiny and subtle. And here is the core of that practice. As you watch each and every one of these things pop up and fade away, you apply this specific reflection. This is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. It's not just a chant. Think of it as a constant, gentle cognitive reframing. It's the direct antidote, the perfect medicine for that deep-rooted habit of making everything about me and mine. When you practice this consistently, the result is profound. You're freed from clinging. Because really, what's there to cling to if it's not actually yours and it isn't you? And when that constant act of grasping finally stops, the mind that was always so busy and agitated, it just becomes calm, peaceful, genuinely and completely free. So we'll end on that note. This whole teaching given to Rāhula, it's not presented as some dogma that you have to believe in. It's an invitation. It's an experiment to run for yourself in the laboratory of your own experience. It leaves us with a question. What if freedom isn't about gaining something new, but about simply letting go of a very old mistake? What if it's all just a way of looking,